Hi, I'm Jesse Richards. I have a lot of books and I want to share some of them with you. So, today we're at a shelf with a lot of my favorite graphic novels. You can see this whole section around me is filled, and I always try to keep at eye level some of my favorites. So, we're going to look at this box today, and it has some of my all time favorites. And I want to start with a book called Vincent, about Vincent van Gogh. It's by Barbara Stock. And what's nice about this graphic novel is it uses the visuals, which are very simple, to demonstrate Vincent's mental state as he goes from healthy to increasingly unbalanced and mentally unfit. And so it shows him through the use of line and shapes, sort of as he descends into whatever types of madness he was suffering. Another interesting fact is that the book uses the exact same color palette as his works. So all of the pages have taken color samples from Van Gogh's actual paintings, and they match the paintings. So it's a pretty incredible book all around, and it focuses on his relationship with his brother, who supported him his whole life. Excellent book. Here we have a couple adaptations. So we have Anne of Green Gables. This is, of course, a wonderful book. If you haven't read it, you should read Anne of Green Gables. My wife and I actually listened to an audiobook narrated by Rachel McAdams, if you want to experience the book in all possible forms. This graphic novel is very cool. It had to adapt it in a certain way, so it's condensed, it summarizes, but the art is sort of idiosyncratic and fun, and in some cases just absolutely beautiful. So she's so happy she lives in a world in which there are Octobers. It's really, really nice. The colors are really interesting, and you get a couple of these really stunning pages that are just amazing. So that's a really fun book to have been adapted. A couple other adaptations. Here's The Handmaid's Tale. It's pretty good. Some nice watercolor adaptations. I opened right to unpleasant parts of the book, but nice. Of course, the use of color is so symbolic and interesting in that. Blue is the warmest color. This isn't an adaptation, but it was adapted into a movie. It's actually black and white with a little blue in it. Another good, famous, well-known graphic novel. If you've seen the movie, I don't know if you knew it was based on a graphic novel, but that's the graphic novel. Here's another adaptation, The Giver, if you've ever read that book. This is an adaptation by P. Craig Russell, who I think I've collected almost all of his works. He's just this excellent draftsman. These lines that he draws are very classic and precise and well-balanced and beautiful. And here, too, like in a couple of these examples, it's black and white and increasingly adds color as the protagonist's mind is opened and awakened. And he uses this cool sort of pencil sketch feature. It's really nice. Let's see what else we have. So, March here. Very famous, best-selling book. This is the Trilogy Slipcase Edition. The only flaw in which is that they wrote Trilogy Slipcase Edition really big on the spine for some reason. I don't know why. If you want to show that off, it'd be better if it just said March, but this is 3 volumes. It's the story of John Lewis, the representative who passed away recently, and his battle during the civil rights movement as one of the country's top civil rights leaders in that history. And the book is long and intense and dramatic and really dramatizes that era and in a really amazing and intense way, flipping back and forth between John in the present day and back then in the 1960s. Also a political book, but this one is fiction and much lighter. Well, they're actually heavy, but lighter in content. It's the book Ex Machina. So Ex Machina is the story of this superhero who's sort of a bumbling superhero in New York City until he manages to actually save one of the World Trade Center towers during September 11th. He manages to save the second tower. And he's so popular after that act that he's able to run for mayor and win. And the book is actually a mix of his sort of looking back at his past superhero exploits and how they affect the political decisions he's making as the mayor. So it's sort of a political book, like West Wing or anything like that, in which you're dealing with all these issues that are, in front of New York City. And at the same time, he has this like really colorful past, even with like villains and things. And the artwork is amazing. It's very realistic. The artist used all these models to draw the people. And it's just a really, really nice book. I reread it recently in these nice format. It's no trilogy slipcase edition, but it's pretty nice. These books that I have here, the series is Scalped. This is like Native American Sopranos. It's a guy who goes back to the reservation as an undercover FBI agent to look into the mob boss at the Native American reservation. And he has all these ties to where he grew up and the family there and how the family is related to the mob. And, they don't know he's undercover, I guess, by definition. And it's this drama that's really intense and tells the story of these families. This one, let's talk about two more. The Adoption, this is a recent one I got. It's a French book. This is the English version because I don't speak French despite 5 years of taking French. It's the story of an elderly man whose kids are grown, and his son and wife were never able to have children, so they adopt a little girl from Peru. And it's his relationship grows. He's sort of this ornery, grumpy old man, but his relationship with this little girl grows and deepens, and it's really sweet, with some shocking twists in it. And then lastly, this book is Muse. This is a really weird, obscure book. It is basically sort of a pin-up book of this beautiful woman and almost an excuse to draw her. And, that's common in comic books sometimes. But what's weird is that the rest of the art is amazing. And she ends up in all these situations. It's sort of like a steampunk 19th century setting. And clearly the artist sort of and writer just wrote this with a bunch of random scenes to show off the things they wanted to draw. They're just amazing things like tree houses and scientific weird contraptions and birds and animals and lush landscapes and all these beautiful settings, water and bridges and ponds and castles. And it's got some of the best art I've ever seen in a comic. And I'm glad I found it. It's very obscure. And it's beautiful in this oversized edition. The coloring is amazing. So I suggest checking that out. And so that's some of the stuff I have in this box. And next time, I guess we could look at any of the boxes. So I'll see you then. Hopefully you'll check out some of these books and like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And take care. Thanks.